or good morning, depending on which part of the world you are in. My name is Sabyasachi Dasmohapatra. I am the CEO of the Overseas Indian Facilitation Center, or OIFC. Thank you for joining us for this webinar today. We will follow these in a Okay, so there's a bit of a glitch. Apologies for that. The agenda for today is I will give you a brief overview of the Indian economy. I'll introduce the participants and be your moderator for today. Thereafter, we will play a short video that has been recorded by Additional Secretary Mr. Moole for particularly for this hangout. After the video, we will have Joint Secretary Ms. Vani Rao address us. Post that, my colleagues from ISB, Geeta Krishnan and Soumya will take us through the details of the program, and we'll take questions after that. We will run through all of this hopefully in the next about 30 minutes, and thereafter take questions. So straight away, let me first start by introducing Ms. Vani Rao, Joint Secretary, Overseas Indian Affairs at the Ministry of External Affairs. She is a career diplomat with a very distinguished and long service with the Government of India. She joined the Indian Foreign Service in 1994. She started her career with a posting in Mexico. Thereafter, she's held various positions in different parts of the world, in Europe, in Israel. She's also handled many senior positions at MEA headquarters here in Delhi. She served in the West Europe division. Thereafter, she was a director in the Americas division. And before coming back as Joint Secretary, her last overseas posting was as the Deputy Chief of Mission at the Indian Embassy in Israel. We're extremely privileged to have you, Ms. Rao, today, and we look forward to hearing from you. Friends, everybody has been talking about the Indian economy. I will not spend too much time, but give you a brief overview of or touch upon some of the things that are happening and why it makes India such an attractive destination to do business in. To my mind, there are four broad things that you look at when you evaluate a particular opportunity. Is there enough demand? Is there a skilled workforce that is available that from where I can hire people for my operations? Is there enough capital that is available? And does the government play a key supportive role in encouraging business? Now, all these factors have very nicely come together at this point of time for India. There is a lot of pent-up demand. This is the largest and the fastest growing economy in the world at this point of time. The government has taken several steps towards making it easier to do business in India. India has been consistently moving up in the rank of ease of doing business, and the government is committed to making it even easier going forward. In terms of opportunities, there are opportunities across sectors. Broadly, if you look at services, that's been a traditional strength of India. India has been doing very well, and that story continues. The big story is about manufacturing, and that is that has been the focus of the Prime Minister, and you see that across a variety of sectors, starting from core industries. You look at railways, you look at highways, ports, roads, bridges, infrastructure. This all, the government, for example, is building roads at the rate of more than 20 kilometers per day, and they're targeting, taking it up to 30 kilometers per day. This kind of activity, they're very, I guess I don't know too much about China, but apart from China, I can't think of any other part of the world where activities of this kind of scale are taking place. Energy, there's some amazing work that has happened in energy. If you look at renewable energy, India is has made significant commitments at Paris towards the climate change negotiations. And if you look at solar, solar energy is, if I had to draw an analogy, solar energy today is where mobile phones in India were about 15 years back. Now, as volumes are growing up, tariff is coming down. In the recently bid solar program of NTPC in Rajasthan, bids have come in at about 4 rupees 40 paisa per unit. Now that is, you're almost touching grid parity. So, and India not just being part, India is leading the International Solar Alliance, which is an alliance of more than 40 countries, and more countries are coming on board. And in terms of funding, you would have read the World Bank has committed $1 trillion towards funding solar projects for the International Solar Alliance. Similarly, significant opportunities in healthcare, lots of innovation, some of them extremely disruptive, are happening there. These are, this is very simply put, these are very exciting times to be here in India, and we hope to welcome you to India to come and do business here in India with India, and through this, this would open up opportunities in many other parts of the world. Friends, I can go on and on, but in the interest of time, let me stop here. We will address some of your queries, some of the other things during the question and answer session. But for now, we would like to play for you the video that Additional Secretary Mr. Moole had recorded for us. Those of you in the US, you would remember Mr. Moole as the Consul General of the Indian Consulate in New York. That was his last posting before he came back. Again, a very senior, highly respected and seasoned diplomat. So can we play the video now, please?
Well, I can take over if you wish.
Do you? It's one last try.
How many people are logged in? 20, 25.
India is the fastest growing large economy and we are poised to become a driver of global economy. This opens up exciting opportunities to engage with India across diverse sectors. We are delighted to bring to you a unique program for strengthening your engagement with India. The India Fellows Program has been launched by the Ministry of External Affairs and OIFC in partnership with Indian School of Business, one of the top business schools in the country. This program is crafted especially for overseas Indian entrepreneurs and professionals who wish to do business with India. It will familiarize you with the Indian business ecosystem and offer a sound introduction on how to do business in India. The program is a residential classroom session in India and an opportunity to meet senior government officials, policymakers, domain experts, captains of the Indian industry. You can also familiarize yourself with flagship programs such as Make in India, Digital India, and Startup India. Come on and join this exciting program and partner with the largest growing economy in the world. Thank you.
Thank you, Apurva and Shreya. Friends, that was Mr. Mule speaking to us. Can I now request Ms. Rao, Joint Secretary Overseas Indian Affairs, to kindly address us, please.
Good evening, friends. I'm so pleased to be here with you, and I hope that we are able to convey to you the importance that we attach for engagement with the Indian diaspora. I'm very pleased to share that I have been spearheading efforts about diaspora engagement in the Ministry of External Affairs in the last 1.5 years in New Delhi. And otherwise, as you just heard, I have been a career diplomat in various countries, and it was a pleasure to engage with the Indian community worldwide through my different postings outside India. As you know, the government in India is very warmly reaching out to the overseas Indian community wherever you are, and Prime Minister and other senior ministers in the government have made engagement with the diaspora a key feature of their visits abroad. They have invited the Indian community, irrespective of whether you are a non-resident Indian or a person of Indian origin, to engage with India in whichever manner that you wish to. And economic engagement, obviously, is one of the key areas that we are keen to work with you. When the Prime Minister has been addressing the Indian community globally, the community has also very warmly responded to the outreach. Many of you have asked the government and also the political leadership how you can start working with the Indian economy. We have noticed in the embassies and also working with the industry that traditionally several members of the Indian business community abroad have been engaged in mostly the traditional methods of trade with India, which is export and import of products and services. But now, since the Indian economy has done so well in various sectors, particularly services, R&D, outsourcing of various operations, there is a wide gamut of options available in terms of doing business with India. This is where we want to present this very unique program to those who are interested in looking at the Indian economy, those who are interested in doing business with India, those who want to co-locate their industrial locations in India, or those who want to have their R&D operations based in India. So we have also noticed that an Indian entrepreneur or a business owner who is looking at the market has various options in terms of sources of information about the market and business inputs and analysis. He either goes to a consultant who gives him information on basis of payment, or he goes by the judgment and advice or experiences of his friends who are already working in the market, or family which is back in India. But friends, you all know that these are useful inputs, but they're not very comprehensive, nor are they accurate. And we have been often addressing questions and emails from the Indian community asking about how they can cope with the uh, approvals that they have to seek in India, the various regulatory mechanisms, how they can make a judgment and a decision about what is the right location for a business in India. Should they look at a particular state in the north of India or South India? What is the right kind of business entity they should open in India? Do they need a local partner? Should they be setting up a joint venture, or should they just be sourcing from India? What are the different options available, and how does each option work out for a particular business entity which is looking at the Indian market? Friends, this is where the India Fellows Program has been crafted. It's a very unique program which is open exclusively for overseas Indians. It is with you in mind that we have designed the curriculum and various elements of the program. It will provide a very unique opportunity for participants in the India Fellows Program to visit India, to have an experience on the ground of the Indian market, to have first-hand meetings and interactions with other business entrepreneurs, business owners, and startups and others who have already had an experience of the Indian market. And another unique feature of this program is that it brings to you an opportunity to have a direct interaction with some of the leading policy makers in India. I'm sure you've heard of the Government of India's flagship programs such as Digital India, the Financial Inclusion Program, Startup India, Skill India, and so many others. This program brings you these leading policy makers and stakeholders in India in a face-to-face interaction, and you can get to hear from them about these programs and how, not just how these programs will have a transformational impact on the lives of various people in India, but also how they offer immense business opportunities in every field. So friends, do look at the program, and we hope that you will sign up and be here in India for this exciting residential program, which carries through into a year-long engagement with the Indian School of Business. With those words, I end here, and we are all here available to answer your questions. I think after me, the Indian School of Business is on standby to share with you crucial elements of their program and to give you any other information that we haven't shared with you so far. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Rao, for that extremely lucid and elaborate explanation of what the Ministry of External Affairs is doing for engagement with diaspora, and also talking about programs like Digital India, Skill India, and Make in India. Friends, now we get into the specifics of the India Fellows Program, and I'd like to invite Geeta Krishnan, who's the director of the Center of Executive Education at the Indian School of Business, to walk us through the details of the program. He will also be joined by his colleague Soumya Shashidhara, who's the associate director at ISB. Geeta, over to you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Sabyasachi. Hello, everybody. It's a pleasure to be with you and talk about the India Fellows Program. Before I get into the specifics of the program, I'd like to spend a few minutes talking to you about the Indian School of Business. The ISB itself is an example of what Sabya and Mrs. Rao spoke about in terms of the opportunities in India. We are what you can call an entrepreneurial business school, which identified the opportunities in India and identified the potential of India. And that's really how the ISB came to existence as well. So we are, as I said, a fairly young institution. We started about 15 years ago in the early days of liberalization in India. However, we managed to make some really rapid strides in the last 15 years. We continue to stay an independent institution. In other words, we kind of chart our own path and we're not governed by the rules of the game, as it were. So we created our own rules as we went past. Having said that, we still managed to create global impact in terms of being a globally recognized school. We are the youngest institution in the global rankings of business schools. This is a ranking process that is done by the Financial Times, and it is considered to be the gold standard of business school rankings. So that stands testimony to how we managed to reach international standards while being located in India. The second part that we focused on was to get our processes correct to ensure that what we do consistently across every program and every activity that we undertake. And the governing body for this is the AACSB, which is the equivalent of the equivalent of the CMM, beg your pardon, the CMM for management education. And we are the first in first in India to get the AACSB accreditation. So we know that our processes are again gold standard. In terms of executive education, which is an important element of the school, and executive education is the wing of the school which conducts what we call, in technical terms, non-degree programs, and in practical terms, it means programs that target working adults, including corporate executives and entrepreneurs. We are the leaders in executive education in India because to us, doing executive education is an integral way through which we link with industry and make sure that everything we do is consistent with what industry and the marketplace requires. And that's an area we managed to be a leader in. And we've done all this starting off in our Hyderabad campus, which is where we started our operations 15 years ago. And 5 years ago, we started a second campus up in the north of India in Mohali. However, what we have ensured is that while we have two campuses, it is still one institution. So we do not have different programs in the two campuses or different approaches in terms of running the two campuses. So in this program, and I will get into the details of this program shortly, you will have the opportunity to experience both the campuses because we start in one campus, transit via Delhi, and go to the second campus. So that's been the flow of ISB. In terms of partnerships, and again, ISB has kind of broken fresh ground because while we are young, we are also old because we tied up with some of the oldest institutions in the world. So the Wharton School at the University of Pennsylvania, which is where the MBA program was first launched way back in the 1800s, and therefore Wharton is the granddaddy of business education, is a partner school of us, as is Kellogg, which is another blue chip school up in the US. So these schools have helped stay with us and helped us define our school as we go along. Along with them, we also have tie-ups with the London Business School, which is the leading business school in the European area, Brexit or no Brexit, as also the MIT Sloan School of Management, which is one of the leading lights in manufacturing management, and the Tufts School of, and the Fletcher School at the Tufts University, which is the world's leading school in public policy. And the reason we looked at multiple schools was that we wanted to bring the strengths of each of these schools and the focus of each of these schools to integrate with the opportunities that we saw in India, both in terms of education and in terms of knowledge creation. So we have been involving these schools not just in teaching in our programs, but a lot of their faculty get to do a lot of research with our faculty in India and in the Asian markets, which is what you call the developing markets or the emerging markets. And that's really what they get out of these partnerships. It's not like they do this as commercial financial ventures. These are all knowledge partnerships. And you will see the weight of all this come to bear in the India Fellows program, which I will talk about briefly before I hand it over to the architect of the program, Soumya. So if you can move to the next slide, please, Apurva. Thank you. So the India Fellows program has been built on a few fundamentals, which is what we have kind of identified as critical for people to understand what it means to do business in India. Incidentally, this is the first time we're offering this program for the entrepreneurship community, but we've been doing this consistently for corporate executives and executive MBA students of business schools across the world. So the program has been built around the basis of experience, because since this is the short duration program, what you want is to really feel what it means to be part of the Indian business environment. So that's a very important element of this program. So in other words, this is not a pure academic program where all the learning happens only in the classroom. A lot of the learning happens as you experience Indian business in its various facets and dynamics. Of course, it will be complemented by ISB's world-class faculty, and these are the faculty that we bring in not just from within the school, but also from our partner schools that I talked about in the previous slide, as also from a whole host of schools and development institutions across the world, because our model has been built around identifying the problem and then finding the solution from a whole host of resources. So you will experience that world-class faculty pool as part of this program. The program runs primarily with an India residency, which is about 12 days long between the two campuses and Delhi. But it is also a year-long engagement, because we want to continue to engage with you, because what we expect the 12 days to do is to open up your minds and your brains about the opportunities in India. And the year-long engagement is when we are hoping we can work with you and assist you into converting that experience into reality in terms of setting up partnerships in India, setting up units in India, or R&D centers or production centers or what have you. So the year-long engagement will be a combination of, as an extension to the academic inputs you get in the class, plus interaction with businesses, interactions with the government, so that we can kind of translate the learning into business reality for all of you. And the networking with entrepreneurs and the interaction with policymakers is a very integral element of this program, because from the entrepreneurs in India, you get to hear what have been their experiences, what have been some of their challenges, so that you don't need to repeat some of the mistakes they have already made. And the interaction with policymakers gives you two opportunities. One, to understand what their thinking is in terms of shaping policy in India to make it friendly for overseas Indian entrepreneurs, but also to help shape those policies so that it is for the benefit of India and make sure that it attracts you back in a very serious way. In other words, to sum up the experience, to sum up the program, it's essentially three legs. There is a learn component, there is a meet component, and there is an experience component. And I'll hand this over to Soumya now to talk about the scheduling and the details of the program. Soumya?
Thank you, Geeta. Hello, everyone. I will just take you through the details of the three components Geeta has already talked about: the learn, meet, and the experience. This is a year-long engagement with the Indian diaspora. We will start our engagement in August with an introduction to the program and context setting. And then quickly you will come down to India for the India residency, which I will describe in my next slide. Uh, this will be the foundation for your understanding and learning and meeting. And then we will go back and then go through a series of webinars, which are masterclasses in specific topics, and also experience sharing by entrepreneurs. Now I will talk about the India residency. So the India residency is a 12-day intervention. You will spend 10 days in our campuses in Hyderabad and Mohali, and 2 days in Delhi. The theme that we have chosen for your learning is understanding the India market, innovation in India, launching and growing entrepreneurial ventures in India. So the first leg starts off in Hyderabad on the 28th. You will spend about 4 days in Hyderabad, move to Delhi for a 2-day visit, where you will be meeting various government officials who are leading important initiatives. And then we will move to Mohali to have a 6-day intervention and conclusion of the program. Next, please. I will talk about the learn aspect. First, we will have Dr. Amir Ullah Khan, who will be talking about Indian economy and sectoral trends, giving you the landscape of opportunities and where each sector is heading. He is a renowned developmental economist and a visiting faculty of economics at the Indian School of Business. He also advises the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. to talk about innovation and innovation specific to what's happening in India, or rather the realities of innovating in India, we have Mr. Poris Munshi. He is a visiting faculty of innovation at the Indian School of Business. Through his career, he has consulted with various organizations in helping them think through actually breakthrough processes, strategy, and products and markets. Then quickly we will have we'll move to some skill-based interventions. We will have Professor Dishant Kamdar, Deputy Dean Programs and an award-winning faculty at the Indian School of Business, talking to you about negotiating in the Indian context. So after you've gone through the various experiences, we will have Dr. Tej Pawan Gandok. He is a visiting faculty of strategy in the Indian School of Business, entrepreneur himself, and also a PhD from SMU. He will bring all the concepts you've learned together to talk about 4 different models that can be adapted or used for business in India. Next, please. This is the Delhi part of the visits, very critical. We do want to know what is happening at the government end. My colleagues at the OIFC have helped us put this segment together. We will be meeting policy makers and understanding the various opportunities and initiatives of Government of India. Mr. Amar Sinha from the MEA, Mr. Amitabh Kant, he's the CEO of Niti Aayog, and also previously the person who launched the Make in India. Dr. Ajay Kumar, who currently leads the Digital India campaign. Mr. Ramesh Abhishek, who leads the Make in India campaign at this point, and Mr. D.M. Mule from MEA itself. You heard him speak a few minutes ago. Next slide, please. The other aspect of the meet will be with the business community in India. You will have 2 kinds of interaction: one with practitioners and established business leaders who have already started their ventures in India, and the second kind of interaction will be with the startup ecosystem. Primary will be interacting with the T-Hub, the technology startup ecosystem created by the Telangana government, and also 2 specific networks: the angel investors and the CII Young Indians network, which is formed of very young entrepreneurs in India. So these will be the private sector interactions that you will be doing as part of the meet component of the program. Next slide, please. So the third component is the experience. This is where, this being an experiential program, we will have some aspect of theory or introduction to concepts while in the classroom, but typically the second half of the day is all the participants going out, meeting people, or experiencing a specific opportunity. For example, it could be a visit to the village or the bottom of the pyramid opportunity, so that we can come back and say what is in it for a business venture. Also to see established businesses, multinational corporate offices, and then also other successful projects like the semiconductor and the aerospace cluster at Hyderabad. We also will visit a healthcare organization that has redefined healthcare delivery through innovation. Next slide, please. Talking about the admission process, this year we have 25 seats for the participants. For you to be eligible for this program, one, you need to be from a part of the Indian diaspora. You could either be an entrepreneur or an entrepreneur, somebody who is evaluating India to be their market or a place where you can source things. Entrepreneur, if you're already working for a big corporation and then as part of your responsibility you feel sensing out India is something that would be beneficial, you are most welcome to participate in this program. Coming down to the fees of the program, we are offering a special introductory fee of 5,000 US, and then this will include board, lodge, and all program-related expenses. However, this will not include travel to India and also the travel between Hyderabad and Delhi, which you will be undertaking in the India residency. In terms of when and how you can apply, the last date for the application is July 24th, and we will soon be circulating a copy of the application and a copy of this presentation so that you have all the documents in hand when you decide to apply to the program. Next, please. We are happy to take questions now about the program. If you want to write in to us, please feel free to write to me at Saumya_Shashidhara@isb.edu or my colleague at OIFC apurva.sharma@cii.in. Sabya, over to you, please.
Thank you, Geeta. Thank you, Soumya. Friends, you've got an overview of the program. The floor is open for questions now. Do type in your questions, and we'll address them here and now. Okay, there's a question from Sumit Chadda. Glad to hear about the ISB program. Can you tell me how many candidates confirmed for the program? Yes, though it's an internal thing, Sumit, but we're very close to signing up the last few seats. Are there? Can't really see the slides. Can presenter please share the right screen? Okay, those of you who missed some of the slides, I won't worry too much. We will, everyone who's registered, we will registered for this Google Hangout. We will email the slides to you as well as the recording, the link to the recording of this webinar. Like Soumya pointed out, please feel free to write either to Soumya or my colleague Apurva. Both their email IDs were given out there. I'll repeat that. Soumya_Sashidhara at isb.edu and Apurva, that's APOORVA.Sharma at cii.in. Thanks. Any updates from last few year program like success stories from Sumit? Sumit, this is the first time this program has been launched. So once we are through with this, we will share the success stories from this program. Any prerequisites, composition of students? Is this program only for entrepreneurs or people who are working in tech companies could also participate? Can I request Geeta and Soumya to respond to these two questions, please?
Yes, this program is while it is targeted at entrepreneurs, it is also open to senior business executives who have a significant role in growing their business, especially executives with an emphasis on the Asian market and in growing their business in markets like India. So corporate executives in senior positions will also find this program useful for their businesses.
Thank you, Geeta. I hope that's answered your question. Before I confirm to join the course, if you can highlight any significant development happened through this course in the past year. Okay. Yes, Sumit, we've already answered this. This is the first time. Yes, yes, we've seen that. Uh, Amit, I hope Geeta's answered your question as well. Is this program only for entrepreneurs or people who are working in tech companies could also participate? Definitely, yes. People working in tech companies can also participate.
Great. I would say British is not say it's only for Indian origin or Indian prerequisites.
Okay. Any other questions? Yes, Sumit, thank you, and we look forward to having you here. Uh, the the application form is available on the website. Otherwise, if you can drop us an email, we will send you the application form. Jay Kulkarni, do you need to be an Indian citizen to join? No, this is open for diaspora. As long as you are an Indian diaspora with an Indian heritage, you can join. You might be holding a passport of any other country. That doesn't matter. Amit Tyagi, yes, it's clear. I'm a startup here in Germany, but in parallel, I'm still in the university. So I don't, would it still come under the criteria? Yes, Amit, if you're a startup and you're studying as well, you can still participate in this program. In fact, this program is ideally suited for somebody like you. If we go back to what Soumya spoke about, this is there's a 12-day Indian residency, which is in a the look, learn, experience part, the experience part primarily. But the year-long engagement is through a series of webinars, which are typically done on Saturdays. So ideal for people of your profile. Okay. Any other questions? This would like to highlight. Your question don't have to happen here and now. Uh, if you have any further questions, do drop us an email and we will revert to you. Uh, what we can also do is, if you're really interested in this program and you'd like to have a discussion with us, send us an email with your contact details, and we'd be happy to schedule a call with you one-on-one and walk you through the program as well as answer any questions you might have. Uh, And while we're doing this, I'm requesting my colleagues to type in their email IDs so that it's there on your screen as well. The only thing I'd like to reiterate here is, as both Geeta and Soumya presented earlier, the last date for applications is the 24th of this month. So with less than 10 days to go, we're filling up fast. So do if you're interested, would highly recommend you don't wait till the last minute. Because again, we've discussed this with ISB. We've planned this very closely. The batch size, can't be more than 25. It would be extremely unwieldy for more than 25 participants. So if we exceed that number, we will, though we have a tentative schedule for the next run of this program, but most likely as soon as we hit 25 participant number or applicant number 26 onwards, would move to the next run of the program. Friends, if there are no other questions, we will close this Google Hangout. It's quite late. We have participants from Australia as well, and it'll be extremely late in that part of the world. Those of you who are here from Australia, thank you very much for staying up this late and joining us for this program. Also, also friends from other parts of the world, thank you very much for being here today, for joining us at this hangout. It's been a pleasure talking to you. Before I close, I'd like to thank Joint Secretary Vani Rao. Thank you very much for being with us. Friends, this goes to show to you the kind of commitment that the Government of India, the Ministry of External Affairs, and particularly offices like Ms. Rao are putting in, the kind of personal efforts they're putting in for this program. So I'd also like to thank Geeta and Soumya. Thank you very much for being here, and the entire team that's been working behind the scenes for this. So Arani, Samrat, Shreya, Apurva, and Ankita, thank you very much. We couldn't have done this without you. So ladies and gentlemen, we'll close this here today. Any further questions, do write into us and we'll be happy to respond to your queries. Have a good day.
Thank you, and hope to see you all in India soon. Thank you. Bye-bye.